Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I, Chandni Singh, on behalf of Her World India, would like to welcome all of you to the talk show series. Today, we would be discussing about the disastrous impact of tobacco on consumers' health and how crucial it is to change our lifestyle pattern in today's day and age. We feel privileged to be hosting this show in collaboration with Policy Center and Gender Lab, Miranda House, Delhi University. Policy Center and Gender Lab provides research opportunities in the sphere of gender studies, social sciences, and policy shape up. So today we have Dr. Dodal Mandal, Senior Oncologist, Apollo Hospital. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. We also
Thank
have
you so
with
much.
us founder and editor-in-chief of Her World India, Ms. Rakhi Bakshi. Her World India is the brainchild of Ms. Bakshi. During the session, I request all the attendees to kindly keep themselves on mute and turn off their videos. If anyone has any questions, they are requested to put it in the chat box. All the questions will be taken up at the end of the session. Thank you. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Chani, again for that gracious introduction that you always do, and very warm welcome on Her World India on behalf of Her World India team. I, Rakhi Bakshi, welcome you all, ladies and gentlemen, well-wishers and friends. We have a very esteemed speaker, a person who is expert in his own field, and I'm very, very delighted to introduce him, Dr. Mandal, and he's, of course, a very senior oncologist, also has been associated earlier with AIIMS, now with Apollo Hospital. And the question that we are going to ask, or the issue that we are going to target today, is that, how much have we traveled in terms of understanding cancer, oncology as a subject, and how much of a hazard it is even today as we talk in 2021. So Dr. Mandal, let's begin by saying that, we have always been scared of this disease, something which has always created a lot of fear. I mean, you say cancer and there is a sense of fear, but in 2021, currently, now that we are advancing in terms of medical research, science, trying to tackle many of the diseases, where do you think we stand today, especially in India, sir?
So, first of all, I would like to thank you for inviting me. It's a privilege to be here, and for a nice and kind introduction. So, I think just 2 days and we are going to have World Tobacco Day, and it's very relevant to discuss cancer just few days back before that World No Tobacco Day. Let us start with this, that cancer is an epidemic, that is a modern day epidemic, that is how it is being considered nowadays. Because the growing number of cancers over the years is making it something a very difficult health problem, not only in this country, but worldwide. Now, talking about India, we definitely see a gradual increase in number of cancer cases. So at any point of time, if we discuss about the cancer prevalence, that means how many cancer patients are there in the entire country. So that will be roughly 45 lakhs right now. The number may not be the exact or actual cases, because not all cancers are reported, not every patient goes for treatment. So it's at least the minimum number we have at any point of time. And annually, we see at least 15 lakh new cases every year.
Okay.
Sad part is,
how would you really look at the ratio of increase per year? I mean, would you like to see a ratio increasing at a pattern?
Yes, definitely this is increasing gradually. So we do not have a system to have every year's data. So this data is actually published almost in a decade or so. So there is a consistent rise in the number. And the most unfortunate part is the 15 lakhs of new cancer cases which we diagnose every year. Almost 50% of that 15 lakh actually die from this cancer. So that's a very sad part.
Okay, coming to actually the use of tobacco, I mean, despite so many efforts by the government now, by NGOs and all kind of people who are looking at how to curb the prevalence of tobacco use in terms of now the marketing, advertising, also looking at it, we have all those signs at the right places. How much do you think it has really worked in terms of lowering the cases or lowering the whole prediction, I would say also, to the use of tobacco?
So let us see the worldwide trend. Uh, there are very funny things happening worldwide related to tobacco. If we look at the developed countries, there are the majority of the tobacco users are smokers. They are basically women. When you go to a middle income or low income country, this ratio just reverses. And then men becomes the main user of tobacco or smokers. Uh, if you look at the tobacco related problem as a whole, in 20th century, almost 100 million people died because of use of tobacco. And in 21st century, this has increased to 1 billion. So the you can understand how the problem is gradually increasing. Now, different activities have reduced the consumption of tobacco and smoking in developed country among men. But on the contrary, it has increased smoking in women. Mm-hmm. And parallel to that, definitely in our country also, there is a gradual, slow but very gradual rise in number of women who are adopting smoking as a lifestyle. So tobacco is and smoking there now, and the diseases related to.
But then now you have new methods. So you have smokeless. I mean, of course, the category of smokeless, also the category of using, those non-traditional methods of smoking. So you have, all those smokers who are using new techniques because they can't live without it. So the prevalence of those, cases where people are using, let's say, those new techniques, are they nicotine free or, whatever different methods they're using?
That's not the major component of tobacco which is being consumed or used by Indians. The majority of Indians actually either smoke, that may be a cigarette or bidi or hookah, and almost 30% of them are actually using tobacco in non-smoking form. And if you see the trend in North India, which is popularly known as tobacco belt, people use chewable tobacco, pan, tiny, right? So betel quid. So they are rampant, and Mr. Thuku was created as an icon to reduce the spitting in common open place. I don't know whether that has reduced the impact of spitting in common place or not, but that signifies that a significant number of our population are actually using tobacco in chewable form.
Let's break it into patterns and let's look at different categories. So, for example, starting from how many young people, adolescents, are using it in terms of percentage, then how many women are using it, will come to the impact also. For example, if young people use it, that is the kind of impact on their future life, which is the lifespan is much greater. Women, because they also bear babies. How would you really look at these categories?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So we really do not have that much specific data for our country. But if you see the worldwide trend, 13 to 15 years age group, there are almost like 24 million smokers worldwide in that age group. So a teenager who are not supposed to smoke or not supposed to use tobacco, 24 millions are actually using tobacco or smoking. Now, when you say about pregnancy and smoking, it's definitely a dangerous thing to smoke during pregnancy. That can cause a lot of problem to the unborn or the newly born babies. There can be higher incidences of growth restriction, congenital abnormalities, cardiac abnormalities, I mean heart problem or developmental problems. So many things can happen because when the lady or the woman smoke, it reduces the blood supply to the baby. And we all know that the baby gets blood supply from the mother.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So is there a question somebody is trying to ask here? Is there a question someone wants to ask here, Chandni? Do you want to ask?
Yes, ma'am. Hi, sir. I wanted to ask, is there a connection between smoking and depression?
So the question is whether smoking and more smoking creates depressive moods?
It can cause. It can cause. It can cause. So there are people who gets elated after smoking, and there are people who definitely starts getting depression after smoking. It's not exactly because of the effect of smoking, but the thought that I am smoking, and many of them actually do not want to smoke. So there are a counter defense mechanism might be created in their mind, which can lead to depression.
Okay. Talking about any relation, do you think that smoking, because it also increases reduced lung function or cardiovascular diseases, would you see any such link between how we are watching COVID-19 and smokers who could be, according to you, more likely to then get the symptoms?
Yeah, so when the COVID-19 was actually in its initial phase in 2020, it was widely discussed that people who are smokers having a bad lung, they were definitely had worse disease compared to a person having healthy lung, because smoking causes damage to lung. We all know that a lung is our main respiratory organ, and when a person keeps on smoking for a long time, that may be because of cigarette or bidi or maybe even industrial smoke and air pollution. So gradually the lung it reduces its function, and the lung cells, they're gradually destroyed. So once the infection starts in the lung, it cannot fight. So the damage because of the infection, because there is lack of oxygen supply to the body. So those complications are definitely much more in a smoker's lung than a non-smoker's lung, and it is well established.
You know, when I talk to you, doctor, you know, I am reminded of, you know, the right from the movie culture in which initially we saw, if you look at, let's say 15 years back, then cancer was a disease which was rarely looked at. We had movies like Anand and all, which talked about it. Now we have come a long way. How would you really see the instances in terms of different diseases? So, for example, cirrhosis was something which really was found common, but there are all kinds of body parts which are now affected. Would you like to throw more light on the kind of cases we are seeing now?
Yes, so it's not that tobacco or smoking causes only cancer. It's one of the problems of smoking. So when someone smokes for a long time, then in a nutshell, you can say that it reduces their lifespan by almost 15 years. So if someone would not have smoked, they would have lived another 15 years on this earth. And the major reason is actually problems in the lung. We have heard about COPD, which is a major problem in our country also, and that's the major burden of disease related to smoking tobacco in India. Now, it's not only that, it can also reduce the caliber of the blood vessels. So we know that we have a lot of blood vessels in our body through which the blood goes from our heart to brain, different other organs. Now, when someone smokes for a long time, the blood vessels gradually, they're reduced in size. Their caliber becomes smaller because plaques starts deposited inside the blood vessel. So because of lack of blood supply, there can be problems in the heart, there can be problems in the brain, there can be problems in kidney. And if someone has other associated disease like diabetes, then these problems actually manifest in a multiplied manner. So the problems become much, much more severe.
Sure. Would you see any pattern also in terms of class, education, awareness and all that, in the sense that would you say that developed countries or developing countries have different patterns? Also, would you say that urban culture and rural culture would see different patterns?
So it all depends what kind of tobacco product someone is using. If someone is smoking, irrespective of whether he belongs to India or US or UK or high socioeconomic group or low socioeconomic group, the problem should remain the same. Now, someone using a chewable tobacco, irrespective of whatever socioeconomic background he or she is from, the effects would remain the same. So it depends on the nature of the way someone is using the tobacco. So if you see the pattern in North India is mostly a chewable tobacco. So we see a lot of cancers occurring in the in and around the mouth. It has a typical name also. It's known as North Indian cancer, oral cancer. So that's typical because of the pattern of use. Someone does not use chewable tobacco is unlikely to have any oral cancer.
Okay.
Someone who doesn't smoke is
I think there's a lot of interest in the subject, Dr. Mandal, and so there are a couple of questions coming in. Yes, you can come in and ask the question.
How threatening are nicotine withdrawal symptoms? So, from Ms. Nay Somani. So it's not only about nicotine, it's about any withdrawal. When someone becomes dependent on something or addicted to something, the withdrawal symptoms can be severe. So there is a way by which you do de-addiction. There are de-addiction centers, there are psychological counseling. So it's a long-term process. The traditional way in our country, what I see, everyone forces stop it from tomorrow. But then what happens? Someone just tries to stop it 1 or 2 days, and then the body fights back, showing all the symptoms of withdrawal. If it is a gradual process under supervision of an expert, then definitely the symptoms would not be much more. It would be controllable. But if it is not happening like that way and being done in a completely untrained manner, then it can be harmful. So what happens because of the withdrawal symptoms, the person is unable to maintain that withdrawal, or so they again start the addiction.
Okay, I was also reading that the young girls, I mean, who maybe smoke and then it really affects their health in terms of not only how their reproductive system could get impacted, but also menstrual patterns. Would you see any? Would you like to talk about?
It can be. So because of, as I was telling you, that there are a lot of changes happen because of smoking. Because smoke contains a lot of, you can say a lot of poisons, like including some benzene products, aldehydes, heavy metals. And now once someone keeps on smoking for a long time, all these harmful products also come in our body. And they can manifest in different ways, as you are mentioning. Like there are evidence says that there are higher risk of stillbirth, higher risk of abortion in women who are smokers. And also I was saying that the weight of the babies that becomes lesser in smoking women. There might be episodes of irregularities in their periods. Yes, that can happen.
Okay, now have we kind of come of age in terms of tackling, let's say when you talk about cancer, in terms of advanced technology, medical advancement? Earlier, would you say that fatality was much higher and lesser? Would you say that there is a pattern, or what is it like?
Yeah, there is a pattern. There is definitely a pattern. If we compare with Western countries and Indian countries, in India or the low socioeconomic countries per se. So what happens in developed world, because of their awareness, most of the cancers are detected in an early stage. So when you detect a cancer in an early stage, irrespective of which is whether related to smoking or not, the chance to cure becomes higher. Mm-hmm. So the same thing when it comes to a low socioeconomic country, because of same lack of awareness, mm-hmm. the cancer gets detected at a much advanced stage or at stage 4, or traditionally we call that last stage of cancer. So if you know 80% of stage 1 or stage 2 cancers are curable.
Okay, so somebody is asking again, I think I asked this, but whether smokers become more vulnerable to COVID?
No, it's not that smoking makes you more vulnerable, but definitely smoking makes more vulnerable to have severe complications out of COVID. So yeah, the chance of getting infected is equal in everyone.
Okay, another thing, despite knowing that it's injurious to health, despite this knowledge, when we look at telling people, or people even telling themselves that this is not correct, the instances are still there. What would be your message, tips, medical advice to how people can really not get into withdrawal systems, get depressed when they get those systems, and try and look at how to do away with it?
So the best thing is not to fall in this trap of machoism by smoking and all these things. So first, the best thing is to avoid smoking altogether. It has been found that mostly these smoking habits starts in the teenage and up to 25. So someone who did not smoke till 25 is very unlikely that he would smoke in later future, right? So avoiding is the best way. Now, if someone is already smoking, then it's best to have a proper guidance from a psychiatrist or psychologist or a de-addiction specialist. It's very unwise, I would say, that someone starts this de-addiction without any supervision or guidance. That makes most of the of these attempts unsuccessful because they do not know how to tackle the withdrawal symptoms, what medicine to use. Now, people are now using tobacco patch or some nicotine patch, but again, there are a lot of controversies with that also, right? So it's best to talk to an expert in with de-addiction or to go to a de-addiction center. Now, we really do not have much designated de-addiction centers in our country, but at least each and every large hospital, big hospital, medical colleges, they do have their psychiatry department, and they are the person who can deal with this situation. So the depression associated with withdrawal, depression associated with de-addiction, the craving, the aggression, everything can be managed by them.
Okay. As somebody would say that, how to divert. So how to, I mean, in very simple terms, what are those things that one can divert from? I mean, for example, somebody would say, oh, try doing this not to smoke, or try doing this not to take, any such product. Is there any such very friendly kind of advice to a lot of these people?
So self-motivation is the best way, that I don't want to smoke because of the lot of ill effects, cancers, heart problems, lung problems, and that I am going to lose 15 years of my life. And if I don't smoke, I would be having 15 years more on this beautiful earth. That's a big motivation, and someone can motivate themselves. And of course, we talk about
another thing on behalf of so many women, especially who have lack of awareness. Again, I would come back to rural areas. And we have seen instances of how it affects babies. I mean, I'll come back to that question again. And sometimes they do not know. So, for example, the awareness in local hospitals to PHCs, to all those things, and how much awareness education is available or not available. What would you say? How, again, we can look at, curbing things?
Practically, I would not say that it's very, very assuring, because our health system is actually overburdened with a lot of other problems. And there we really do not see anything to happen very soon. But yes, that's a very nice idea to begin with, that our rural health system can be developed much more to tackle. If you were asking about statistics, there's a very interesting statistic. There's 15% of women in rural India, they actually use tobacco in chewable form, right? So contrary to 6% smoking, that number is really high. Okay. 14% are actually using chewable tobacco. Okay. So definitely this idea of strengthening the rural health system awareness is very nice. And although we do have legislations, we do have very strict rules, laws about doing fine, jail, etc., etc. There are no tobacco zones, but practically it does not really happen.
As a doctor, I really want to ask you, so every day when you experience cases, what is it like to handle some of the patients? Would you like to share any experience, the kind of numbers which are every day? How do you see it, whether it's coming down, rising, any pattern that you'd like to share, sir?
So being an oncologist, I deal with cancer patients. And as I was saying, that this oral cancer is very common in northern part of the country. So cancer of mouth, cancer of tongue, cancer of gum, cancer of voice box, cancer of pharynx or back of the throat, they're very common. And in our country, we see mostly oral cancers. So yes, patients definitely start avoiding smoking once they are diagnosed. But I have seen many of them actually going back to the habit of smoking or using tobacco once again, even after our repeated sessions of counseling. Most of the patients, I have seen that after their cancer recovery, they try to maintain that they would not smoke or they would not use tobacco. That's definitely most of the people try to do.
you know, we have seen celebrities coming out, and sometimes this whole shaming aspect is also happening where people say that, you know, oh God, you're smoking and it's not really good. So many methods are being adopted right now. What would be your message right now to a lot of people who are watching this to tell them that, you know, tobacco use is not good for health and how should they really curb it?
So the message is very loud and clear from my end. I am a never smoker, and I really do not like smoking all this habit, because it's not that I am judging someone, but it's because of the lot of ill effects. So the best way is not to have this habit of smoking or using tobacco. If you are having this habit, start quitting it in a gradual manner, and avoid lot of complications, your health related problems. And also you can save a lot of money by not smoking. We all know cigarette and all these things are costly. So financially it's also beneficial, health wise it is beneficial, psychologically it will keep you in a much better condition, and at the end you will get 10 to 15 years of additional life. So what can be a better reward than this? So no to smoking. Each and every day should be a no smoking, no tobacco day. This can be just the beginning, that okay, someone can have this pledge on this day that I will start from this day, but then every day has to be a no tobacco day.
Okay, every day should be no tobacco day, and very well said. Thank you so much for that message to, especially to, I would say, to a lot of young people who really need to understand that they have to add to their lives and not really.
Yeah, and another one message: there is no machoism in smoking.
Yes, and I think a lot of messaging is happening through mass media, movies, ads, and all. But we need to continuously talk about it. Need to continuously also tell others not to do it. Also do self introspection, because we have seen even some very senior people who are in positions, and you know that they get the disease also. So we really urge here. And along with you, doctor, I think everyone should, at least at Her World India, we are taking this pledge that do not take tobacco. It's not good for your health. And please have a safe life and make the world happier and the universe more beautiful. So thank you so much for sharing those insights with us, Dr.
And thank you once again.
And on behalf
all the listeners, all the viewers, and specifically to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And on behalf of Her World India, all its women and some men, and all those viewers and participants who are with us today, I thank you once again, and thank you for all the insights and inputs once again. Thank you so much, and have all our best wishes to you.
Thank you.